Homicide report. Detective McMahon. Badge number 1025. August 26, 2014. 11:34 p.m. 544 Northwest Tarrant Street. One deceased female, age 26. Large entry wound to chest. Heart removed.
Hey Jason, what do we got this time?
Yeah, it's another one, the CSI officer said, shaking his head. Same MO. Chest crushed, ripped open, heart removed. Human heart from previous deceased present at scene.
How many does this make?
The detective asked. Are we counting the one at the lake? Jason inquired.
No, not yet anyway,
replied Detective McMahon. 5 then, but there's no way we can deny they are at least connected, Jason said to the detective, squinting his eyes.
Yeah, I hear you. But there was no heart present. It's his calling card. There's no way he'd leave out that little detail. This guy's sick in his ritual. They may be connected, but it may be a copycat. I'm not giving him the credit till I'm sure.
The detective pulled out his lucky Zippo and rubbed it with his finger as he examined the apple engraving on its surface. As he lit his cigarette, he noticed the pale ring around his left ring finger. He took a deep breath and ran his fingers through his hair and exhaled. Near the woods on an old country road near the outskirts of town, a car pulled to a stop about 20 yards off the road. A young teenage couple seeking seclusion from prying eyes dimmed the lights on their car. Hey, look, at least turn on some music or something before you just start grabbing around, the girl said to the teenage boy as he rolled his eyes and fumbled for the radio. Aw, come on, don't be a sad sport. Make it romantic, she laughed. Oh yeah, he said sarcastically. Real romantic sneaking off with me, while your boyfriend, my friend, sits at home loving you. We're not supposed to be out here anyway with the curfew and all. Oh please, that girl died almost a month ago. I don't hear you complaining about the last time, or the time before that, she said as she unbuttoned her shirt. Come on, you know that... The car shook violently as something slammed down upon it. What the hell was that? The boy screamed as he frantically looked around. All he could see was a single black feather floating in the air above the hood. Then suddenly his window burst into shards as he felt 2 steely, ice-cold hands reach through the window and grasp him, pulling him out through the opening and then being tossed into a nearby tree. His back smashed as he wrapped around it like a rag doll. He lay there motionless as he looked on in terror as a tall, lanky figure with white hair and crystal blue eyes that almost seemed to glow stared at him. He wore no shirt and his skin was a grayish black. He had a skull on his face, the rib cage and bones to match on his chest and arms. They seemed to be painted on. He also had the bones on the outside of his hands and fingers. He wore jeans and an old pair of shoes. The boy felt the most horrible sadness come over him. He lay there helpless as the figure changed his attention from him to the girl and moved towards the car. Tommy! Tommy, help me! She screamed as the figure jumped onto the hood of the car. The figure smashed out the windshield, reaching inside the car, grabbing the girl and slowly dragging her out onto the hood. She didn't fight back. She lay still now. It crouched over her and looked at Tommy while lowering its head. The creature then whispered something in the girl's ear and kissed her on the forehead. The figure started pulling at something on its chest slowly and methodically. Tommy could hear disgusting sounds of blood dripping down and flesh rustling around as the creature seemed to be reaching inside its own chest. It then pulled out something from inside himself and lay it on the hood next to the girl. The figure then removed the girl's shirt. No! Valerie! No! Tommy used the last of his strength to scream. The figure grinned as he slammed his fist into her chest. He struck her repeatedly as bone crushed and popped with every strike. She violently shook and coughed up blood as he continued to hit her. Tommy lay motionless. All he could do was shed one tear. The tear rolled down his cheek as he watched the monster begin to rip and tear into her flesh with his bare hands. Finally, he reached his prize and pulled her still beating heart from inside her. He placed her heart inside the wound he had created in his own chest. Then he dug around inside his pocket and pulled something out and placed it in his mouth. The creature then began to pull the girl's hair from her head and lay the strands of her hair neatly in rows next to each other. He took the object from his mouth, which appeared to be some sort of needle, and picked up a lock of hair and began to sew his wound shut. Tommy lay silent in terror as he watched the grotesque task being executed with patience and precision. He noticed a small movement on the ground near the base of the car. He blinked his eyes to clear his vision and saw it was a small, scruffy dog, pouncing about, wagging its tail. The figure stepped off the car and knelt down and patted the dog on the head. It spun about and wagged its tail. The figure turned his attention back to Tommy, then walked over and stooped down to his knees near Tommy's head. Tommy could see the horrific details of the thing's body. The black skin, skull, and bones were a part of him, not like a tattoo or painted on, but as if it were actually his skin. Tommy could see the crude stitches holding his wound together, made from Valerie's hair. The creature looked down at Tommy and tilted his head inquisitively as it reached out its hand and wiped away Tommy's tear. Tommy could feel nothing but a horrible, hopeless sadness as he stared into the thing's bright blue eyes. The figure then softly placed his hands on either side of Tommy's face. It then leaned in closer and spoke the words, "To you, Val."